Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Elite Dangerous. Now, Elite can be quite an intimidating game, and with the recent surge in new players I thought it time to put together a video that can explain some of the features of the game and how to go about playing it. Now, this isn't going to be a full-on tutorial or anything like that, but it should serve as a guide as how to go about your life in the Elite Dangerous world. So, at its essence, the Galaxy is an open world game. And although it's often referred to as an MMO, it shares much more in common with a online survival game, at least in terms of the game mechanics. There's not really anything in the sense of leveling or that type of progression that has been the main staple of MMOs for the past decade or so. But what the game does have is a whole array of ships which serve to allow you to progress further into the galaxy under your chosen career. Here we can see the Cobra Mark III, which is a very good all-rounder ship. An Eagle here, which is a very good combat ship, and it's a long-range ship, so it can be used as a scout or a very basic explorer. The Viper is a hard fighter. The Adder some people use as a hauler, but it's also a very good early exploration ship, as it has long distance jump range. And of course the Lakon Type 9, which is one of the largest ships in the game, so it can be used as a cargo ship, but it's also quite a good fighter in its own right, as it has quite a number of hard points. So as I said, a lot of people view these ships as a stepping stone to further develop their exploration into the elite world. But as you're sitting there on your landing pad in your hangar for the first time in your brand new Sidewinder, you may be wondering what exactly those things are that you can do in the game. Well, naturally, one of them that Elite is very good at is combat. And with your starting Sidewinder, you're reasonably well equipped to go out and do that straight away. And one of the best places to do that are the nav beacons. Now, most systems in the core area, the core systems are basically the systems you start in during the game. Those surrounding systems usually have nav beacons very close to the stars. So you might have to jump one system or two systems away, but when you fall out of hyperspace near the sun, have a look at your navigation pane and you should see that there's a nav beacon there. And if there is, simply head toward it, fly within drop range of it and jump out. And you'll find yourself in an area where a whole load of NPC ships arrive and leave. What you're looking for here is a ship that has a wanted status. So target each ship and keep it in front of you, and you will see on the panel in the bottom left hand corner of your HUD that it's scanning, a little circular spin around, and it will then tell you if that ship is clean or wanted. If it is wanted, you're free to attack it, and if you kill it, you'll get a bounty for it, which you can redeem at the station. Now, another thing you can do in the game is look for unidentified signal sources. These appear at random in supercruise, usually within a very short range of your ship. So target them, approach them, and drop out of warp or supercruise, and you'll find yourself in a random area. The signal sources are kind of exciting because you never actually know what you're going to get. In this example, I've found a destroyed ship, and obviously all its cargo is spilt out. You can see the white dots on my radar. So in this example, I'm just going to fly up to them and see what they are. And they're crop harvesters. So I'll take a few of them. As I'm in a Sidewinder, I've got a limited cargo capacity of just 4 tons, which means I can only scoop 4 of these. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. Obviously, they will then need to be sold. I'll get 100% profit from them, which is pretty good. But do be aware that scooping up anything like this in space does carry risks. Obviously these items are not mine, so they're flagged as stolen, and if I'm scanned by an authority vessel, I'll then get a wanted tag on me, and there's also the possibility that they may open fire on me and destroy me. So as they're stolen, in order to sell them I need to find a black market, and not all stations have a black market. There's no easy way to find a black market when you're actually outside the station or on the galaxy map, so it's essentially just experience to do that. You need to check each station in turn, and eventually you'll find one. Outposts tend to be a little bit easier to do this with, as they're not surrounded by a ton of authority vessels, so it's a lot easier to avoid being scanned. But here you can see I've gone to the black market and I want to sell illegal goods, and there are my illegal goods, and I'm going to sell them, and I make 100% profit from that, as there was no cost to me to receive them. So that covers a little bit of smuggling as well as the black market. But it's also essentially a lot to do with the unidentified signal sources, which are very good, and they're certainly worth doing because, as I said, you can find pretty much anything in them. In this case now, I'm actually on a mission to destroy some traders, which I picked up from one of the stations I was at, and I decided to just drop off at this USS that I was flying by, and this one turns out to be dynamic, and the ship that's here is actually aware of the mission I'm on, and he asks me to abandon it. So I can either continue with the mission or abandon it as he requested, or I can even destroy the guy. It's completely up to me. So the unidentified signal sources are certainly worth doing. You never know what you're going to get, and they're always a source of entertainment, and they can be a good money maker. Now, with combat and sneaking around aren't really a thing, you always have exploration as an option. Your free Sidewinder comes with a basic discovery scanner, which you can use to uncover planets in unexplored systems. Unexplored systems are unexplored to your ship's database, and they're systems within which you cannot see or haven't identified any planets yet. So when you look at the system map for them, all you usually see is just the sun. So what you can do is fly around the system with your Sidewinder, triggering the basic discovery scanner, and you can populate your system map as I did in the example I just showed there. Once you've got that information, you can sell it at the Universal Cartographics, which is available in every station. One thing to keep in mind is that you need to jump at least 20 light years away from the system you've scanned in order to sell that data. Any systems or stations within that radius are generally uninterested in the data, as basically they live there, so they have no use for it. Also, the basic discovery scanner has a range of just 500 light seconds, so you have to fly around quite a bit to use that. The intermediate discovery scanner is quite a bit more expensive, but it has a scan radius of 1000 light seconds. And the advanced discovery scanner lets you uncover every object within a system, just with a single use. Finally, you may be interested in a detailed surface scanner, which need to be used in conjunction with one of the other scanners. The detailed surface scanner allows you to fly close to a planet, moon or a star, and target the object in front of you, the planetary body, the system body in front of you, and it will do a detailed scan showing the composition of that particular planet. And this will increase the value of the data that you might want to sell. Now, the system maps are useful for a lot of things, but one thing in particular that they are very useful for is mining. In order to mine successfully, you need to prospect. And prospecting basically means searching for valuable ores or minerals. To do this, you're going to need to look at the system maps. You go to the galaxy map and choose a system map that you've got data for. And once inside that system map, you want to look at the ore belts, the asteroid belts that circle the stars, or the ring belts, the ring systems that circle gas giants. And when you select them, they will reveal to you the composition of the asteroids within them. They will tell you, firstly, the quantity of the ores or metals available within them, basically starting at depleted reserves, which means they're essentially of no use, then going up to common reserves, which you'll get in most of the core systems. You will find a little bit in them, but they're not worth a whole lot of bothering with. Next up are major reserves, which have been mined a fair bit, but there's still plenty left in them. And the best ones to find are pristine reserves, which means they're basically untouched, and you can find the highest percentage ratio of minerals and metals for every chunk of ore you mine. There's also one other thing you need to pay attention to, and that's the makeup of the asteroids. If they're icy, you cannot mine them. If they're rocky, you'll find a good mix of minerals and metals, and generally they won't be particularly good ones at that either. They won't be the very valuable ones. After that, you'll find high metal content, and then metallic. And metallic asteroids are actually the best ones. They'll have the most valuable ores in them, or the most valuable metals in them. Which means the asteroids you're really looking for are the pristine reserves metallic, but they are hard to find, and you'll spend a lot of time on the galaxy map, hopping from system to system view in order to find them. But you will be able to find quite a bit of good stuff in the major reserves, high metal content as well, so make sure you go for them as well. The equipment you need when you mine are a mining laser as well as a refinery, and you can pick these up at any good outfitting station. Now, getting away from mining, many stations have bulletin boards, and bulletin boards offer up missions. There's a variety of missions. You can go from combat, assassination, courier missions, or obtaining illegal goods. And many of these can be quite profitable indeed, and they're generally fairly straightforward. You just pick up the mission, head out, do whatever it's asked you to do, then head back to your station again and claim the reward. They're a good way of making money early on in the game, and you can basically pick up a mission right from the start and make yourself a few thousand credits without any aggro or fuss. Not everything in the galaxy is safe, and on your journey through the supercruise lanes you may find yourself being interdicted, and what this means is that another ship is trying to pull you out of warp. This may be another player, or it may be an NPC, and if they're successful they could very well attack you, destroy you, and or steal your cargo. You can escape these, as you can see here. You just align your ship with the escape vector, and if you're successful you get interdiction evaded. But if you want to be on the other end of the interdictions, you need to get yourself a FSD interdiction device, and this will allow you to interdict other players or NPCs. You can do this to either go after wanted ships, in which case you can claim their bounties, or you're free to go after clean status ships as well, either just for the fun of combat or to attempt and steal their cargo. So once you've got an interdiction device fitted to your ship, fly up to your target ship whilst in supercruise, attempt to get behind it, and then trigger the interdiction. And what this triggers is essentially the opposite of what you just saw. Your target ship is trying to align with their escape vector, but you're trying to keep that ship on target. And if you're successful, you will pull them out of warp. And at which point the other ship is basically at your mercy, or it's possible you're at the mercy of the other ship if they're particularly well equipped or a good pilot. There are devices that can help you with obtaining the other player's cargo or the other ship's cargo. They're cargo hatch disruptors, and you can buy them from an outfitting station and equip them to your ship as well. And don't forget, if you want to avoid killing the ship and getting a huge bounty on your head for murder, you can target the other ship's subsystems and just disable their drive. So at this point, essentially anything can happen. Even in this case, a pleasant conversation. One of the big things many players are going to want to be interested in is trading. In order to do this, you need to head to a station that has a commodities market. The trick is fairly simple in principle, and that's to buy low and sell high. You can see the price here of what it costs to buy from a station, and you can see in the far right hand column the galactic average. So what you want is to buy from a low price from a station and go to another station and sell that item at a high price or a higher price. You may be wondering, with all the thousands of systems and stations out there, how would you know specifically which station to carry your item to? But it does tell you here, look, exported to. In addition to that, you can go to the galaxy map and buy additional trade data. Now that's not available from every system, but it is available from a few, so that's well worth buying. It's only cost 100 credits for each lot of data, and that data is available for you for 24 hours after that. And you can see here that it then adds the additional systems that that product is available to export to. Finding a decent trade route can be hard, but when you find a good one, they can be very, very profitable. Here's some Imperial slaves. I can buy them for around about 10,000 credits a unit, and they're sold for just over 11,000 credits a unit. So it's possible here to make 1,000 credits per unit, per ton, which is a good number to aim for. So that covers some of the basics of what you can do in Elite. It doesn't go into too much detail, but it should give you the gist of where to head and what to do. Especially if you're feeling a little bit lost in case the game's not giving you the direction you might want. And of course, the galaxy is vast. So if exploration is really a thing, you can head out there into the distance, into the vast unknown, and see some amazing and wonderful sights. Many of these places will be completely unseen by other players, and you could well be the first person to lay eyes on them. They're well worth the trip getting out there and having a look at. Elite Dangerous really is a vast world, and although it doesn't share a tremendous amount with many of the traditional MMOs for the past decade, as I've said, I personally feel it shares a lot more with some of the more recent online survival games. But it really is up to you what you do and how you go about marking your place in that world. Whether you want to stick to and excel in a single career, or whether you want to take up the approach of a jack of all trades. Anything works. And hopefully this video serves as a bit of a guide of just how you can go about making a start into doing that. I hope it's helped. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys and girls next time. This has been Obsidian Ant, signing off.